How YouTube can fix its platform, if they choose. Hey, it's Prince of Queens, and I just got finished with a week-long uploading ban for yet another hate speech strike. Now, you know how big channels that get stricken with these things often get their flags removed or their channels undeleted and regularly say things like, "Thanks to everybody who spoke out on my behalf, I think I only got this removed because of all of your support." Well, I think I'm a wonderful example of how channels that have a relatively small subscriber base don't get off the hook so easily, because believe it or not, I have now had 7. Yes, 7 hate speech strikes, which everybody always finds completely non-believable considering the fact that I'm about as PC as they come when it comes to channels of this genre. Now granted, 2 of the hate speech strikes I've been given were overturned when I appealed, due to how ridiculously obvious it was that I wasn't using the word that starts with an F and rhymes with maggot as an actual insult, such as one of the 3 videos that were flagged as hate speech over the past few weeks. This time, the video that managed to get reinstated was called Antifa is Anti-Gay, and if you haven't already watched it, please do give it your time, as it's one of my better videos, somebody even said one of the best, as I provide fairly irrefutable evidence that this Islam-supporting communist and feminist organization does not much approve of male homosexuality, which isn't surprising if you actually know anything about each aforementioned component. However, although that video got flagged because I merely used video from Salon where the guy used the F word that rhymes with maggot and thus was successfully appealed, apparently one of the tiny percentage of gay male Antifas in the entire world managed to go back to the beginning of my channel and found me saying the word in, I guess, the 2 3-year-old videos I made where I actually still used the word. Though fortunately, it only counted as 1 strike because they do now give you a warning. Clearly, this was an Antifa hit on my channel, and of course the person was taking advantage of the word policing aspect of YouTube's community guidelines because Antifas are authoritarians, not anarchists, and he was not actually thinking I'm anti-gay myself, because seriously, nobody actually thinks I'm sincerely anti-gay, as I'm essentially the only channel that regularly goes into depth about how anti-gay the left has become, and genuinely does whatever I can to help the gay male demographic by informing them of relevant info that nobody else reports upon. That said, now more than ever is a great time to remind you that you should really get a BitChute account and a Minds account, and follow me on each alt-tech platform. I definitely have a number of subscribers who now follow me exclusively on BitChute, but really only between about 30 and 50. If I could get that up to even a few hundred, I would feel a lot more secure because, as it stands now, it's really hard to find the motivation to make videos. And I did post 2 Minds exclusives this past week, so don't you want to watch those? Well, you can. It's free. It's on Minds at Prince of Queens. Regardless, being that I was forced to take a week off, I had time to do some thinking about what would cure YouTube's problem of being an unfair authoritarian platform where users are essentially controlled entirely by fear. YouTube used to be great, and although I will admit that it's not entirely unreasonable for them to have some guidelines about child porn and extreme violence and maybe a few other things, and I can even admit that even though I'm against this, some hate speech guidelines wouldn't be the end of the world to make advertisers happy. Regardless, I still think I have a few suggestions that would make it actually feasible for everybody. Now, disclaimer time, I doubt they'll ever actually give its users what we want and what would be the best thing for their own tanking business, likely because their fate as a company is so heavily invested around having the Democrats in office that what they really seem to be after is making the platform as non-conducive to anybody that isn't in support of the Democratic Party as possible. And so, instead of just fixing the problems, they'll seemingly just cut corners like disabling Hangouts on air and all of the other expenses they've gotten rid of, while I suppose shaking hands with CNN, MSNBC, and CBS News in a mutually beneficial relationship that keeps corporate news on the top and, I don't know, likely puts money directly in YouTube's pocket, but don't quote me on that. I definitely don't know that for sure. That said, here are 3 main ideas about how the platform would be a much better place if they chose. The first thing to do would be to merely replace the new standards of their search and recommended functions back to the old ones, which basically worked kinda like a meritocracy. As I remember, back in early 2016, the search function's top results revolved around keywords, how many views, watch length, and thumbs up or thumbs down each video had, and how new the videos were posted. And recommendations were probably based around similar videos to your subscriptions, as well as videos liked by the people who liked the same videos that you did. Now, when you think about how simple that is, and then think about the fact that it seriously used to seem to be that way, it's rather shameful just how far the product has fallen down the tube, no pun intended. I mean, don't you ever imagine, what if YouTube worked how it should, in terms of finding videos you want to watch? Well, sadly, it used to. So if they just changed it back, that would be amazing. The second thing to do would be to make their hate speech guidelines clear once and for all, which, granted, I've already explained they're probably never going to do in this video, but if you just decided to list out a clear and comprehensive list of which words will get you flagged, who exactly the protected identities are, and include a clause for whether or not the video maker seemed to mean something disparagingly, which can be examined if you appeal it, that would make things much better. This one is fairly self-explanatory, though would more than likely require the occasional update, as derogatory language does have a tendency to change around from time to time. However, if they simply allowed transparency, then users would know for sure how to follow the rules, and rest assured that the rules are universally enforced, which would actually make the company less likely to face future First Amendment violation lawsuits. The third thing the company should do would be to have a small bit of transparency regarding the people who flag your channel, in that it should probably be possible to find out who exactly is flagging your channel, at least after a certain point. You see, as it stands now, anybody with a few sock puppet handles can mass flag a channel and essentially get it deleted if they're acting in bad faith. However, if somehow individuals had to actually sign up and register their real identity with their profiles in the way other social media companies often do, there would at least be long-lasting evidence of who reported what videos. Now, I'm not saying that they should tell a channel who exactly flagged a video as soon as it happens every time. Rather, if there were to be an appeal, or better, a lawsuit based around somebody unfairly flagging one's channel and inhibiting their income, the channel owner should be able to know who exactly to take to court, which would ultimately be a good system for YouTube because it would cut way down on the malicious flagging problem that's so rampant. Finally, the fourth thing that should be done is that there should never be a case of a channel being deleted by way of a freaking bot. This is completely unethical, as people are uploading to YouTube as their full-time jobs, and it's obviously super messed up that an algorithm is firing people and then not saying why. Instead, each time a channel actually gets 4 strikes and is eligible to be deleted, it should merely be hidden from sight until a worker actually goes over it and makes sure that it actually violated channel deletion worthy principles. And then when the channel gets deleted, the YouTuber should be informed of who the worker was and why they made the choice to delete their channel. I say this so that people might actually be able to potentially sue for wrongful termination now that the Trump administration is pushing an executive order against censorship, because that seems to be what he is after. You see, social media companies, we all knew that if you kept it up, the regulations would come eventually. I guess besides you, or at least you seemingly told yourselves that you were too good to have to care about this. Well, now they're finally coming, and so I guess you should start to think about damage control, because this can get a lot worse. So, would you rather be sued by a whole slew of people who you once employed as YouTube affiliates, possibly with a massive class action lawsuit, which might definitely already be in the works? Or would you prefer that in the future, each employee has to stand by their channel striking and or deletions so that they can be your fall guys and gals in case they are found to be violating the new regulations? Well, I guess the choice is yours, but I will say this. If a viable alternative to YouTube comes out, I'm actually gonna delete my channel, totally. So you'll be rid of me. You'll be done with dealing with me. You've abused me for far too long, and I used to love making videos on this platform. Regardless, until something with more backing comes along, again, please follow me on BitChute and Minds.com. And if you feel like donating some money to me for all of my troubles educating people, possibly even just for the Antifa is anti-gay video, which I very much do not regret publishing because I think it's really important that people realize this, please do send me something on PayPal, sign up to help me monthly on Subscribestar, and you can even donate to me on Patreon if you so desire. That's all.